Hey guys, it's Jen Coyle from HelloBrio.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I use my Pentel water brushes to create ombre effects for watercolor and just show you how I use my water brushes in general with watercolor because I got some questions on that. So this is kind of the effect that I want to do. So right now I have my 3 watercolor brushes and you can see that they range in size. So this is the smallest one, this is the medium-sized one, and this is the largest one. For this, I'm going to be using the smallest one. It looks like the tips are stained right now, but that's actually just the pigment is there, or the pigment isn't there, but the stain is there, so we don't need to worry about anything. You can always have a piece of scrap paper nearby just to test it. So in order to do this tutorial, you're going to need some watercolors, a paper towel, your water brush, which is filled with water, and then a scrap piece of paper and your main piece of paper. So in order to use your water brushes with watercolor, you just need to kind of wake up your palette. So when I'm doing these ombre effects, I like to have my palette colors up top so I can easily grab the pigment from there. So in this one, I kind of want to do a similar thing where I have reds, oranges, and a little bit of pink. So I'm going to pull these colors up here. To wake up your palette, you just need to squeeze a couple drops into your watercolor pigment here, and then start to pull the color up there. Now you can see up here that it's still really not pigmented a lot, so I'm just going to keep pulling color from here. So what I've done is squeezed a few drops and I'm just really agitating the pigment so it'll wake it up and soften the pigment a lot. So you can see that's starting to get a little more pigmented now. It's still not quite there, so I'm just going to keep going. These colors have dried overnight in my travel palette, and if you want to see how I made this travel palette or what resources I used to make them, you can check out that video. These tips of the water brushes are pretty resilient, so you can be rough with them. Just make sure that when you go to store them that they're clean and that the bristles are pushed together. Okay, that's pretty good. So now that I have that color, I'm going to pull a little bit more up here so I have enough to work with. I'm going to squeeze and clean off my brush. You just squeeze the water through the chamber and then you can see that the tip is mostly clean. Now I'm going to pull up some more orange here, so I'm just going to do the same thing, wake up the orange. And I also want to pull up some of that pink, so I'm going to just wake up the pink here. Generally the higher quality the watercolor, the more it's going to get pigmented faster. So you can see that the orange and the pink are working a lot faster here because they're Winsor Newton Cotmans. This one was a very inexpensive color, I think it's vermilion from Artist Loft. So now that we're ready to go, I'm just going to do some warm-up strokes, make sure the pen is working okay. So again, with water brush lettering, with brush lettering in general, you want to make sure your downstrokes are thick and your upstrokes are thin. And you can just kind of dip between the 3 colors that you have, or however many colors you have. And if you want to change colors, do so on the downstroke. So with this palette, you can see I have these 3 colors that are woken up. I'm not going to go into these colors because they're from an older project, but you can just go ahead and use your watercolor. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video so you can watch me hand letter this quote, "The days are long, but the years are short." And that's from Gretchen Rubin. So there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions on how to get started with brush lettering, make sure to check out my ebook, Getting Started with Brush Lettering. Also visit my site for more tutorials on watercolor and digitizing your watercolor, etc. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.